Hello, welcome to Sideways. The bird song, so beautiful this morning, I thought you might like to listen to that instead of to me wittering on. So I'll just tell you that this week we're talking about some of the perceptions and beliefs that people have in their head about what it's like to lead a sober life and how wrong they are. And that Martin also has some startling news about birds' anatomy. But I'll just let you listen to the birds for a few more seconds. The myths of sobriety.
There you are. Good morning.
Here I am, as usual, on time.
It was the last message I had was you were considering being a little bit late.
Yeah, but I was just what I was doing was forewarning you.
Oh, okay.
Because I was keen not to inconvenience you, so I thought I'd give you a heads up. But as it turned out,
you were all right
to deal with all the things I had to deal with in a timely fashion.
In good time. Well, that's good to see you. Have you been out in the pouring rain this morning?
I have. I had a very nice walk this morning, actually, near where you live, over the road in Cuckoo Woods.
Oh, right. Okay. Was it muddy?
It was quite muddy, but it was because obviously the clocks have gone forward here this week.
Yeah.
So there was nobody else around. It was pouring with rain. Lots of people, everybody's body felt it was 6:15 in the morning. In fact, it was 7:15. So I had a free run at gathering some wild garlic.
Did you?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, the clocks go forward. Yeah. People either they stay in bed anyway, or they forget to change the clock. I always remember when I used to play football on a Sunday morning, when this weekend when the clock went forward, people were always turning up late.
Yeah.
And so you get to half time before you had your full quota of players out there.
It's surprising, isn't it, really? Because it's not a massive thing to get your head round, is it?
Not really.
Putting your clocks forward. I mean, these days, all your devices change automatically. When we were kids, you had to change your clocks, didn't you? But I mean, you just did it when you went to bed, didn't you? You put the clocks an hour forward, and the job's done, isn't it? I don't know why people can't organise themselves better.
No, one of the girls that comes to group, she's from South Africa, and she said, "Why do you have to lie about the time for 6 months of the year?" Didn't quite get the concept.
Well, there is a school of thought that says we shouldn't bother with changing the clocks anymore, isn't there?
There is a school of thought, and but we set the time throughout the world, don't we? We have the meridian that runs through Woolwich, and we set the time throughout the world.
Yeah. I can remember walking through Greenwich Park one day trying to avoid the last half an hour of a crucial FA Cup game. I told you this before. We were at a party, my wife's uncle, and it was that day that West Ham beat Manchester United in the Cup with the Paolo Di Canio goal. Do you remember?
Oh yeah, okay,
I'm talking about football. Anyway, it's not really a football story, and in those days, I was so panicked at the idea that they wouldn't hold on. I couldn't. All the blokes, unsurprisingly, were watching it in the front room of this house, and I couldn't cope. So I had to go for a walk in Greenwich Park and come back when it was all over.
Did you?
Yeah.
You didn't go and find that little place where the meridian timeline runs through then in Greenwich?
I didn't. I looked up the hill to it, but I can remember thinking at the time, I wish I could put the clocks forward now.
So get it out of the way, yeah.
Yeah, full time. I want to put the clocks forward to full time. So there we are, yeah. Common myths
about sobriety. That's what I'm talking about this week.
Okay, good.
It sort of follows on one of our episodes. We're looking at some of the basics in recovery, and the topic of myths comes up often.
So these are things that people people going into recovery think and then find are not the case, or is it these are things that so it's not things that other people who have no history, dependence or recovery think?
Well, a bit of both really, because I think you're in that latter category before you go into recovery.
Right. So it's stuff like, I expect this is probably on your list, stuff like I'll never have an enjoyable time again.
That's it. That sort of thing. Yeah. Yeah. But having gone through it and jotted down a number of these myths, I can attest to them all being mythical. Good. Having spent a lot of time in recovery circles.
Right. So in that sense, this should be quite an uplifting episode, shouldn't it?
It should be. Yes, it is. Yeah, I think so. But before
we need an uplifting episode on a morning like this.
We do. Yeah, it's a bit drab out there, isn't it?
Yeah.
But before we start, have you got a before we start this week?
I've got two, and they're both absolute humdingers.
Are they?
Yeah, even though I say so myself.
Okay. Well, I better do mine first thing because mine's not that brilliant. But it's
now I've given myself the big build up.
You have, yeah. I'm going to set the bar. I think it's reasonably. It's not high. It's sort of middling, if you like.
Okay.
You'll get over it with a Fosby flop. That's for sure. I think that's the bar. But I'm sort of carrying on the animal theme in there before we start section. It's sort of become almost ritualistic now.
Yeah.
But I think I'm sort of running out. But did you know that that birds don't have they don't have cocks, mate? They don't have knobs. They don't have an old fella. Did you know that? I did. I mean, it's strange that male bird is often called the cock bird opposite the female hen. But I was listening to the radio and Greg Davis was talking about it in a rather jocular fashion the other day. And I'd never really thought about it. I thought perhaps he was joking. I'd never really thought about, how birds copulate. But apparently, most birds, they mate they call it a cloacal kiss. Have you heard of that before?
No.
Where both male and the female bird have an avian vent or a cloaca. It's called a cloaca or a cloaca. I'm not quite sure how it's pronounced.
All right.
And they mate by briefly touching so that the appropriate fluids can be passed across.
A bit like a battery.
Yeah.
Battery touching the battery terminals.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. I think they create a little bit of friction, obviously, and away they go. But I know all that time I spent as a kid having, my dad used to keep pigeons.
Yeah.
And when I saw them having a cloacal kiss, my dad said they were just fighting. So I never really understood what was going on.
Well, okay. I didn't know that birds didn't have a penis, but no. I'd never really imagined that they did either, if that makes any sort of sense.
Yeah, I know. Well, you're probably like me. You hadn't really ever given
You'd have seen a bird's penis, wouldn't you, if they had them?
Well, you'd think so, wouldn't you? See, because that would be a little bit. I suppose it would make their flight a bit tricky, wouldn't it, if that was dangling down? You know what I mean?
You'd be worried about landing on anything, wouldn't you?
You would. But apparently, it's not all birds. So water birds like ducks and swans, they do have a penis.
Oh, you see, I find that more interesting.
Yeah. Well, I do.
Ducks do have a penis.
Ducks have a penis, and I was thinking, well, it's limited to the water birds. And I thought, well, that's a bit weird, isn't it? Because I don't know about you, but my old fella tends to shrink up a little bit in the water. So you would have thought it should be the other way round.
Yeah, so all water birds, so geese.
Yeah. Well, most water birds.
Moorhens. Is that a water bird, isn't it?
Yeah.
Swans. So swans have a penis.
Yeah, ducks and swans. They have themselves the proper. Perhaps they use it as sort of perhaps they use it as a rudder. Actually, I've written down here. Perhaps they use it as a radar. Which
perhaps they do use it as a radar.
It should say rudder. I think I know it's it.
Flamingos, they have penises then.
Well, I was thinking about that. I think perhaps they do because they're sort of water. They like standing in water, don't they?
They're like standing in water on one leg.
On one leg, yeah.
Yeah.
Perhaps that's to balance the old fella up a little bit. I don't know.
Well, I've never seen a bird with a huge appendage, because I think you would have noticed that, wouldn't you? I wonder if you can see a water bird's penis with binoculars.
I don't know. I mean, you're right. You don't really see them. When you see them, you walk through the fields, you see them on horses and that, don't you? Think of them, and they're quite
obvious. Dogs.
And dogs, they're quite obvious, but on birds, no.
No. So sometimes when someone's sitting in one of those hides out in the in the estuary,
yeah,
we think they're just sort of looking at the nesting habits of the geese, but they might be actually looking for a water bird's penis.
Could be. It's a whole new sport, probably. Probably illegal.
Yeah. And if it isn't illegal, it ought to be.
It should be, yeah.
Yeah. That's excellent. Well, actually, you have set the bar. I think you underplayed that a little bit.
Did I? Oh, okay.
I think that's excellent. I'm not sure I can top that. But I'll tell you what I've got anyway.
Yeah.
The first one was, I thought you'd enjoy this actually, because it follows on from the conversation we were having last week about amusing headlines.
Oh, okay.
This isn't an amusing headline, but it is a news report that I thought was quite funny. A woman in the Philippines spent 4 years praying to a green Buddha figure she purchased from a store until one day a friend pointed out that the Buddha figure she'd been praying to was actually a figure of Shrek.
I do like that one. That's probably blasphemous to the Buddhists that listen.
I don't know, though. I would have thought, I sort of had it in my head that Buddha would be all forgiving and probably...
Yeah, of course he would.
I think, is Buddha a he?
He is, yes.
Is he? Would probably be all forgiving and might have found seen the funny side of it. Don't you think?
Well, he would have done, because he believed you needed to have extreme deprivation to encompass joy. Yeah. So he would have thought being recognised as Shrek or being compared to Shrek, it's way down there. It's the only way is up from there. Yeah,
it's an easy mistake to make as well, I'd have said. Yeah. There are similarities. You look at a Buddha figure and you look at a figure of Shrek. The thing that I think would have been a giveaway would have been it was green.
Yeah.
I mean, why would you have a green Buddha?
I don't know. Perhaps they thought it was tarnished by the weather sitting outside.
Yeah, not if it's plastic, though.
No, true.
Anyway, the second thing that I wanted to share with you, you remember we were having a conversation last week about the lunacy of I think it was the Honda CR-V having an integrated shower.
Yeah. And
I wanted to check that it was the Honda CR-V. I thought it was. And I
knew it was a Honda.
Yeah, it was a Honda. I think it was Honda CR-V. And I went looking for it and it uncovered a range of other cars that had ridiculous accessories.
Okay.
So I just want to share a couple of my favourites with you.
Yeah.
Okay. So the first one is, I don't know what years these were, but the Fiat 500L.
Okay.
One of the options you could have was an espresso machine in it.
I like the idea of that, I've got to say.
Right, that's the first one. If you had enough money for a Bentley, you could have it with a fly fishing set.
I was expecting to have the nice Bentley logo on it as well, wouldn't it?
Yeah. The Mercedes E-Class. We used to have a Mercedes E-Class.
I did, yeah.
And the Mercedes E-Class and S-Class, you could have it with heated armrests.
Mine didn't have heated armrests.
What's the point of that?
Unbelievable.
A Porsche 911 with leather-trimmed air vent slats. And then the final two, in order of ridiculousness, a mini convertible, you could have a rain warner. So it tells you when rain is on its way.
Oh, so you could put your hood up,
I guess.
Oh, yeah.
But the most ridiculous one of all, the Tesla Model S/X, you can have a bioweapon defense mode. So you can prepare yourself for a nuclear fallout as you're driving along.
So it's like a little mini bunker.
I suppose so, yeah. It's 100 times more effective than premium automotive filters. That doesn't say to me it will protect you from a nuclear attack.
No, it doesn't.
I think there might have been a bit of marketing bullshit there. But
especially certainly the direct hit, you'd be lucky to survive that, wouldn't you, in a Tesla? Yeah. Anyway, we're getting way off track here.
Yeah, okay.
Anyway, common myths.
Yeah.
First one. Again, not in any particular order. I jotted them down as I thought of them. But the first one is one you sort of alluded to earlier on, where sobriety isn't fun.
Right.
Okay. So you think that if you're going to get sober, there's going to be no fun.
That must be one of the biggest ones.
It is the biggest one, I think. Really, even though I put it, I suppose it was the first one that came to mind. On the flip side of that, sobriety not being fun. I mean, drinking for me was anything but fun. Staying pissed and blacking out all the time and getting up to all sorts of shenanigans was anything but fun. And the stress and anxiety caused by heavy drinking is definitely not fun.
That's what I was thinking about when I was thinking about that, because it's the only time you really have fun with in connection with alcohol is before you become a dependent drinker, isn't it?
Yeah. Oh, it is. Yeah. There's a period initially when it's all right.
Yeah.
When it doesn't have catastrophic consequences.
Yeah. If you can go out for an evening and, have a few drinks and enjoy yourself, and that's that, it can be fun, can't it? But once it's ruling your life, what's fun about that?
There's no fun at all. But you find certainly when you go into recovery and you think it's not going to be fun. I mean, but you save so much time and money. You have the opportunity to restart, really, and to rediscover your old hobbies and start new ones. And it's a lot of fun meeting new people as well.
So one of the other things related to this, and you may have this as a separate one, but I'll ask you, is I guess the myth that other people will stigmatise you for not being a drinker.
I do come on to that.
Okay, well, we'll leave that then.
There's there's something that alludes to that, but it is a good point. It is a good point, that's for sure.
Because I was reading something yesterday. I'll send it to you. I was reading something yesterday about that very thing. You know, the difficulty of feeling kind of socially ostracised by an absence of drink in your life, particularly if you're younger. You know, because young people, although less so to a degree, but young people's lives kind of revolve around alcohol, don't they, and socialising and so on. And I was reading something yesterday, and the writer was saying that actually what you have to do is you have to celebrate that difference. You have to really luxuriate in the fact that you are living your life in a different way, and actually in a way that other people who are drinkers can't live. So there's a kind of uniqueness to your sobriety that you can either see that as a deficit, a drawback, a downside, or you can see it as something, well, it's not unique, but something that actually many of your peers can't appreciate, which is a lovely thing.
It is a lovely thing. And the point was I was going to make that attaches to that really, that you know, if you are sober and you choose not to drink, this is not for people in recovery, but it is a myth. You know, if you choose not to drink, you know, other people, they look at you and think you must have a drinking problem because you've chosen not to drink. So it is it's something which it's becoming less stigmatized, I think, for people that don't drink. But they automatically think you're not drinking, therefore you must have a drink problem. You know, you've had to go for abstinence because you can't handle your drink. Yeah. Where a lot of people, like my two daughters, they both choose not to drink. And that's the way it is. They haven't got an issue with it.
You've drunken up for all three of you, haven't you?
I have, yeah. By proxy, by Munchausen, wasn't it?
You've drunk their quota already.
I did, yeah. Drinking by proxy. I use up their lifetime allowance for them to save them the hassle of having to do it. Good parenting, I think.
That is good parenting. Yeah, you protected them from one of, from the evils of drink, haven't you?
But yeah, I mean, talking about fun, I mean, the Aspire to Be, the charity I'm involved with, their strapline is Fun in Recovery, which is all about creating, you know, we have trips, you know, we've been to London and we go to the coast and we go to the football together and all sorts of things. So we have fun. Yeah,
you're always out and about, aren't you, you lot?
Yeah. The second point I had on here was there's a myth that there's only one way to get sober.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Now, this makes me a little bit angry because it's a myth that the recovery community itself has perpetuated via the fellowships. Where a good example of this was, I remember I was at a wedding and I met someone who was in recovery and they'd been sober for a couple of years. And they went to one of the fellowships and I told them about my journey and they were astonished that I'd spent so many years in recovery and didn't follow the 12 steps because they'd been indoctrinated that there was only one way. Now, the fallout from that is that if people don't get on with AA or one of the other fellowships, they can be seen that there's no other options.
Yeah,
and it's awful. It's not a one size fits all recovery.
No,
there's lots of other options like come to Aspire and or Smart Recovery and lots of online ways of doing it. There's other recovery methods using therapy and that sort of thing. So, but it is, and I hear it a lot, you know, and it's a complete myth. I mean, some people may be able to achieve by continuing to go in the pubs and clubs and do all sorts of things which you shouldn't really do. But if they achieve sobriety, it's good enough for me.
Yeah, I mean, I've even worked with a couple of people. I can only think of two who have managed to get sober on their own and have maintained their sobriety for years and years and years. Now, that's not the easiest route, and it's not the route that will work for everybody. But
absolutely right. No, I've known people who've done exactly the same thing. Yeah. So yes, that was a myth that was the second one I jotted down because I thought I've got to talk about that. The third one, which again, it's not that uplifting, but that sometimes there's a myth that sobriety will then mean a worry-free existence. And it's not a magic bullet. You know, life still happens on life terms. But you can then, face those challenges with a clarity of mind and more self-efficacy. Problems and conflicts still crop up, but emotionally you're more stable to deal with them. And I think that a lot of people think that drink, once you get that out of the way, everything it comes up smelling of roses, and it does. It just means that you can deal with things. I mean, you have periods when it feels like that, everything's fine, everything's going to go well because you've given up drinking, but it stopped you performing in the past. So really, you're getting back to some sort of level of societal normality.
Yeah, in a way, that thinking that if I get sober, I'll lead a trouble-free life is addict thinking.
It is, yeah.
Because when you're in active addiction, what you're trying, all of your activities are about getting away from difficult stuff.
Yeah.
And so I suppose it's natural that you think, well, if I get sober, life will be easy. Well, no, it won't be. It won't be easy. In some ways, it'll be more challenging. But what as you're saying, what you will have are the tools with which to get through that. And of course, I mean, I don't know, but I imagine that makes it feel to you as if life is much more fulfilling.
Oh, it is, yeah.
Because you're dealing with stuff instead of constantly trying to circumnavigate it.
And the stuff that you used to leave to pile up, both emotionally and physically, you start to deal with them, and it's a much nicer feeling having a clear desk than having one that's piled up with letters for unpaid bills sitting on them. That's for sure.
Yeah,
it's something we discussed, but it's not a biggie. But it's one I thought it was worth looking into. But one is quite big. I think is that the myth that you have to hit rock bottom before you can go into recovery.
Oh yeah, it's an absolute honey. This one.
It is. I mean, not everybody has to lose their house and their job and their marriage and everything before they enter recovery, and everyone's rock bottom is different. It's a bit. We always try and describe it as a bit like you don't have to wait until the train hits the buffers. There's plenty of stations along the way that you can actually get off and deal with that. It's just that I know it comes up so often, and I see it in so many people, and I was one of those that you think that there's one more stop to go before you've got to deal with it, and we do literally look into the bowels of hell before we pull back and decide there's something better, there's a better way forward. But I'm seeing more people now that are getting their life back together, and there's still plenty of stuff that they've been able to retain. So you don't have to go to the end there. And we know that when you think you've hit rock bottom, there's always another trapdoor that opens below you.
I mean, I don't know what you think about this, but it seems to me that part of the reason that people hang on to the myth that you've got to hit rock bottom before you get better is that they don't have to take responsibility for getting better.
That's it. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
The other side of that is if you don't hit rock bottom, you haven't got so far to get back, have you?
No, you haven't. Yes. So yeah, rock bottom.
Was that Lindsay DePaul?
Didn't UFO do one as well? They did one called rock bottom, didn't they? I think Lindsay DePaul probably did one as well, yeah.
The UFO one's probably slightly more hip.
Yeah, probably. Lindsay DePaul, didn't she have an alcohol problem?
Did she have an alcohol problem, did you say?
I've got a feeling she did for some reason.
According to you, everyone's had a bloody alcohol problem.
Only if I can associate with them then, yeah. I think
Leslie Crowther, did he have one?
Leslie Crowther.
Yeah.
I think Lindsay DePaul, I think it's only because she was one of the first posters I had up on my wall as a kid.
So, was she?
Yeah. So I have an empathy with whatever a situation is. This is another myth. You have to avoid places where alcohol is present. Now, this is a good idea in the first few months, probably the first year, as we said before. But it's all around us anyway, isn't it? Wherever you look, whether it's in the supermarket, it's on the television. It's always going to be there.
So how do you how do you handle that if you're kind of new in recovery and okay, so you accept, right, I'm not going to go in pubs, which is sensible for most people, isn't it? You carried on going in pubs, didn't you, pretty much?
I still went in to watch the football and that. Yeah, I did.
Yeah. Okay. So that goes back to that previous point about you've got to do things your way.
Yes.
Right? You've got to, I suppose you've got to have some integrity, haven't you, about your recovery? So if you're doing something, you've got to know why you're doing it and what risk you're putting yourself at. But even if you avoid going in pubs, as you say, you're going to encounter alcohol everywhere. How do you deal with that when you're early in recovery then?
We tend to advise avoiding those, don't go up the alcohol aisle in the supermarket and that sort of thing. But because it is everywhere, there's no way of avoiding it. It's ingrained so deeply into society that there's no way of having a clear run away from it.
So this is just one of those, this falls into that category of one of those things one of those difficulties in life you're going to encounter. You're going to have to find a strategy to deal with it.
Yeah, but I think what the myth is that you're never going to be able to go anywhere where alcohol is present.
Oh, right, okay, yeah.
So what I'm saying is, yeah, you can leave it for a little while, but you can later on down the line. Sure, you can, because your foundation of your recovery is going to be strong enough to deal with that, and it won't be a trigger. I think you've got to get past that point in your recovery where you're not triggered by it. And although that it's always going to be there, I'm not triggered by it anymore. I know lots of people with long-term recovery don't get triggered. You just deal with it. It's not. It's not. You don't even have a thought process about it particularly.
I mean, you've said to me on a number of occasions that actually, when you're around people who are drinking, when it gets to the point where they're getting drunk, whilst that obviously holds no attraction for you anymore, I'm sure you've said to me in the past, it reminds you of, why you're glad that you don't drink.
Oh, it does. Yeah, they become drunk people. And, I would have been in the category of being completely boorish and out of hand and going on repeat, and they're horrible and they're smelly and, it's vile being around drunk people. Don't like it. And I was one of the worst. So there's a level of hypocrisy there. But
drunk people are boring, smelly and horrible.
Oh, yeah. There's nothing
we could use that as the strap line for our podcast.
The next little myth is you're going to lose all your friends. Now, again, some of them will go. There's no doubt about that.
Yeah, but were they your friends, really?
Normally, the only thing you had in common was your drink and your drugs. So, no, they're not. But your real friends will still be there. In fact, can be very supportive during that period when you go into sobriety. So some will fall by the wayside, and you'll make up new ones. People that are going into their own recovery. So it's and I found the reconnection with old friends, well, like yourself, for example, and other people that I reconnected with, they were still always there, and so you don't lose all your friends, but you just
there must be a kind of liminal space between the end of your drinking when you go into sobriety and the recognition that obviously people will fall away, before you've got to the point where you're necessarily rekindling old friendships or you're creating new friendships, where there probably is a little bit of a feeling of loneliness and isolation. I don't know. Did you experience that? Do you think people experience that?
Yeah, you do to a certain extent, but I think during your active addiction period, a lot of people dropped away anyway. So you become more and more isolated. So it's a fairly gradual process. You kind of
isolate yourself, don't you, in a way?
You isolate yourself. And so you've started to become to one side of society anyway. So I found it really exciting going to detox. I was actually around people again. It was lovely. It was a whole new world was opening up, and I made lots of new friends, and it was fantastic.
The truth of it is that you lose the people that you could do with losing.
Absolutely, yeah. The negative people in your life, you have the chance to weed them out, or they will naturally drop away, and you can replace them with people with bring positivity. There's a myth that addicts and alcoholics are morally corrupt tramps and vagabonds. Right? That was what I found.
Present company accepted.
That was what I found online. I love the phraseology. But it always amazes me, and it comes up often that people, one of the reasons they stop or don't go to groups in the first place, because they think they're going to be walking into a room full of dishevelled, smelly, horrible people. But there's no hiding from the fact that you will come across some people that are perhaps homeless, but you'll also come across people that are doctors and solicitors and people that are politicians, people that are actors at the highest end of their professions, and so you get it's an equal opportunities employer. Really, it really is alcoholism and addiction. Takes on anyone. Don't you worry about that. The next point was if you go into sobriety, you won't be able to switch off your mind. We talked about Shit FM, didn't we? Recently, and we did a whole episode on that. And because we used to use drink and drugs to quieten those horrible voices that go anyway. You think you take that away, there's no way of quietening them. There's no way of getting peace and solitude. which is an absolute myth because, as we know, there's lots of ways of achieving that, via meditation and therapy and going for walks and yoga, laughing yoga.
So is there do you think there is a period, again, do you think there's a period when you first go into sobriety when you do have to kind of deal with that buzz in your head, that kind of the agitation? It's like one of these examples, we've talked about this with regard to emotion in the past. You have to tolerate it. Don't try and push it away. Don't try and distract from it. Tolerate it, walk through it, and you'll find that on the other side of it, there's something better.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, it is acknowledging it that's going to happen, and that it's normal. I think it's the normality of it. We impress upon people that it is normal. These things are going to happen. You are going to, those voices will be there. That you'd artificially silence before, but we can quieten those down, and they'll gradually go over their own volition.
Yeah.
The next one's only a couple of more. Well, there's only one more because we touched on one, but it's another one we did a whole episode on. Back in season 3, episode 21, which was called FOMO, or fear of missing out. And that comes up a lot. Do you think you're going to, that there's a correlation between fun must involve alcohol, and again, total myth. And it's nice to reframe that rather than FOMO, rather as JOMO, so the joy of missing out. And so all you've got to do is to look at the same situation through a different set of eyes, and away you go.
Do you think when people first go into recovery, there can sometimes be a tendency for friends not to invite them to places?
Yes.
Right. Okay. So
yes.
So that would be one of the situations where you might start to feel a little bit kind of left out and ostracized. But I suppose often, if that's coming from your real friends, it's coming from a place of kindness, isn't it? It might not be the right thing to do. But I suppose that, again, is a function of time, is it? That you just have to... Yeah.
Totally, it is. It's a short-term problem or a short-term issue because, you will... And I had that happen to me. People wouldn't invite me along because they didn't want to be the one that was going to encourage you back down that path. And they've since spoken to me about that, and that was a real issue in their own mind. So it's a sort of protective thing for you, but for them as well, really. They did, but once they realise that you can crack on and go to festivals or gigs again and that sort of thing, that's fine. They will invite you along. But yeah,
I suppose really, ideally, you'd let whoever it is that's in recovery, you'd let them make that decision, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
Would you say that, generally speaking, it's always better if you've got a friend or a family member who's in recovery, it's better once they're in recovery to let them decide, I'm going to this, I'd like to invite you, but I don't know how you'll feel about it.
Yeah.
Would you say that's the best way to approach it from day one?
That probably is, actually, yeah.
Because you've got to say, as the person in sobriety, you've got to take responsibility, haven't you?
You have.
If I said to you, you were 2 weeks into recovery and I said, I'm off to Oktoberfest, do you fancy coming?
Yeah.
Okay, that might be a ridiculous thing for me to invite you to, but one would hope that you would have the sense to say, I don't think that's for me at the moment.
Well, no, you would. And the way I used to approach it, so do you know what? It's not probably the right thing for me at the moment. Next year, perhaps, yeah. Perhaps put it in diary for next year.
Yeah. Weddings used to, they used to give you a bit of trouble early on, didn't they?
What did, sorry?
Weddings. Yes, they did.
Yeah, I missed it. Well, it was the stag do's and everything associated with it, which I still wouldn't go on a stag do.
No.
That would be something I'd definitely say no to. But yeah, weddings, I had to miss a couple because I didn't feel that I was ready. So yeah,
that's the point I'm making.
Yeah.
You didn't feel you were ready.
No.
And actually, if you're left to make that decision, that can only strengthen your sobriety, can't it? If someone else is making that decision for you, then in a way it robs you of the power to make your own choices, which is, of course, what drink was doing for you all the time you were in active addiction.
Yeah, I think the nicest way, I think it goes both ways with someone that's saying about, it's probably best I don't invite you. But if they do put it say, I would have normally or perhaps next year I'll invite you, but you probably think that it's too early on, and you can come to a consensus on it. I think that's the nicest way of doing it. But a lot of people just wouldn't invite you, that's for sure. They don't really want to get involved in that dialogue. You'd like to think the people that are closest to you would, perhaps.
Yeah.
But, most people would just say, well, we won't invite him or her because they're in recovery. It's not appropriate.
Yeah.
So that it's a learning curve on both sides of that equation.
Okay.
And that's about it, really. So I think probably, as long as you're happy with it, we'll just pop on to, we'll go to the gratitude list.
Let's do that.
Yes.
Is it me first or you?
Well, I'll go first because mine's quite straightforward, and I've probably used it in the past, but I'm always very grateful for it. And that was yesterday. I was able to spend time with both of my daughters at the same place at the same time.
Lovely.
Which was nice. It doesn't happen very often.
No.
It's obviously geographically they live away from each other, but to have them both together with their partners and of course my grandson as well is all
lovely.
So I was very, very grateful for that.
Did he wipe any bogies on anybody?
No, he didn't. But it was grateful.
Well done, William.
So yes, no, he was. Although he was quite badly behaved, as he always is. He's an absolute joy. He really is. But he's able to, because it wasn't rainy yesterday either. He was able to get out in the park, which is right opposite where Lizzie lives. There's a park.
Nice.
With the swings and the slides and that sort of thing on there. So that he was able to get on there, and it's fantastic.
Were you pushing him on the swings?
I didn't know. I didn't actually push him on the swings, but he was getting pushed. He fell off the swing at one point as well. As you do, it's part of growing up, isn't it?
Of course he did. You've got to, haven't you?
You have.
In the same way as you've got to be kicked by someone who's on a swing as you're walking past.
You need to be kicked off your feet. Yeah, you do. That's right. Lift you up off your feet. But these days they have all nice soft bark around it, and if you do fall, you don't hurt. And
well, they have that sort of very bouncy, sort of carpeting, tarmacy type thing. I don't know how they make that. It's like magic, isn't it?
It is like magic. And we just used to have concrete, didn't we, as kids?
Yeah, we did have concrete.
Bang, straight on the concrete.
Off the witch's hat, straight on the concrete, bang.
And that was
very good.
So what about your gratitude for this week?
Well, mine's quite easy this week because recently I went to have my prostate checked, as all men of a certain age ought to.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And it came back clear. So
excellent.
That's something to be grateful for, isn't it? And it kind of made me think more broadly about the importance of health. I mean, I know that's pretty obvious, but without health, we don't really have anything, do we? So
no, you don't.
And men particularly are terrible for having stuff checked out when there's something wrong.
Well, yeah, obviously, as I went through prostate cancer myself many years ago when I was in the madness.
Yeah.
I agree. I expect you were grateful they use lubrication as well.
They don't do it that way anymore.
Oh, don't they?
No, it's done with a blood test now.
Is it?
Yeah. Okay. So they do a blood test to test your PSA, and if it's high, if it's abnormal, then I think you have to have a biopsy.
Yeah.
And so that's the way they do it. So they don't put the finger up your arse anymore.
Oh, right, okay. Things have moved on.
And I suppose, depending on how you feel about blood tests, that's either a good thing or a bad thing.
Well, I suppose so.
I mean, I hate blood tests so much, I think I'd prefer the finger up my arse, but...
It's all down to personal choice. But I think, because I have to have PSA blood tests still, but once a year now.
Yeah.
To check everything's all in place.
Yeah. So, yes,
so
to be grateful for health, I think is that's easy, isn't it, that one?
Well, as we get older, we've got to be more grateful about that, haven't we?
Yeah, because you're constantly waiting for something to fall off or happen, aren't you?
Yeah, exactly that.
Yeah.
We're going to days of the year.
Yeah.
Now, today is National Spinach Day.
Excellent. I love a bit of spinach.
Me
I think
too.
You like a bit of spinach, don't you?
I love it. It's probably the one vegetable I could eat a whole plate of and nothing else on the plate, and I'd really enjoy it.
Do you season your spinach?
A little bit of black pepper, and that's about it.
Not vinegar?
No.
Vinegar's nice with spinach.
No.
I like grow. It's very easy to grow spinach, so you could grow your own, couldn't you?
I could do. I have to grow it in a windowsill box.
That's all right. You could do that.
It originally, do you know where it originally came from?
What, spinach?
Yeah. Well,
Sainsbury's?
It did come from, but not originally. I think way before Sainsbury's. Well, it started in, they first grew it in Persia, or Iran as it is now. That's where it came from.
Did they?
And the most famous person associated with spinach, apart from Popeye, obviously, apart from Popeye, is a 16th century noblewoman called Catherine de' Medici.
Oh.
She was originally from Florence in Italy, and she married King Henry II. And she insisted on having spinach with every meal.
Right.
Because she was from Florence, I think dishes even to this day with spinach are often known as Florentine, aren't they?
They are, yeah, because eggs Florentine is eggs and a kind of cheesy sauce on a bed of spinach, one of my personal favourites.
So that's where it comes from. I didn't know that until I looked at the research on that.
Oh, very good. Well, I'm a big fan of spinach as well, and of course it's very high in folic acid.
Yeah,
so
it's all good for you, isn't it?
Yeah.
What you're not so keen on is your neighbours, because it's National Neighbour Day today as well. So
I don't mind my neighbours. I don't like my neighbours' cats.
You don't like the cats?
They shit in my garden, but my neighbours are fine.
But you shun them during Jubilee celebrations and that sort of thing, don't you?
Yeah, but I shun everybody during that sort of thing. I mean, I'm not, as you know, I'm not the world's most sociable character. Not because not because I'm nasty, but because I just don't want to do small talk.
No, that's fair enough.
I don't like small talk. So if my neighbours are in the garden, putting the washing out, I'll wait a couple of minutes till they come in before I go out and put mine on.
I think perhaps a lot of us would do that.
I don't want to talk. I don't want to talk about nothing with people I don't really know.
No, you can only mention the weather, and that's about it, and let you move on.
Exactly. And then when people are out for the sort of street parties for the Jubilee and the coronation, I'm sure there'll be another one for the coronation. I'm not going out and doing all that nonsense. I don't want to sit in my front garden eating a piece of cake. I mean, it's ridiculous, isn't it? Waving a Union Jack. Stop it immediately.
I think you need to get back off your soapbox now. It was just a little mute point I was making, but thanks.
Did you say it is National Neighbour Day?
It is today, yeah. So you've got to be nice to them.
I'm going to be neither nice or nasty to them.
You're going to be neutral.
I'm going to be ambivalent, like I am all other 364 days of the year.
It should be National Neutral with Neighbours Day. You'd be happy with that, wouldn't you?
I would be, absolutely. That's fine. Leave me to live my life, and I'll leave you to live yours.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Fair enough. And I'm going to move on to them I need to get you back off your soapbox now. So before you get too angry, I can see steam coming out of your ears. On this day in music, this is something you can have some input on here. Okay. Because, in 2006, Total Guitar magazine, which I suspect you subscribed to over the years.
I've never subscribed to it, but I've certainly purchased it.
Yeah, they voted the guitar solo in Stairway to Heaven by Jimmy Page as the best ever.
Yeah.
Now, it's decent, but it's subjective, but I wouldn't have.
Well, what are you going for then?
I'd probably, there's a couple I'd go for.
Are you going for my solo in Blue Gazebo?
No, I'm not going for that one. No, it's up there, mate. I don't want to put you down. It's way up there, but I'd probably go for, I reckon the second solo by Dave Gilmour of Pink Floyd in Comfortably Numb.
Yeah, that is very.
Is one of the greatest gifts to mankind. Apparently, that solo has been described as. So
yeah, I'd
probably go for that, or I'd go for. There's a group called the Pooh Sticks. The Pooh Sticks. They were a Welsh group during the late 80s. They did a track, or they do a track called "I'm in You." And I think the guitar solo on that, it's probably about 8 to 10 minutes long. It's massive. It takes up you'd love it. It takes up most of the song.
Well, I don't know. It's like you can go a bit too far with the guitar solo, can't you?
You can, but it's superb. The other thing that happened on this day in 2001, there was an M&M doll around. You know, you could buy little dolls, like little Barbie dolls. There's one from M&M, and that was banned by Woolies. That shows you how old this is. Woolies and Hamleys. Because they considered if you bought them, you were approving of bad language.
Oh.
And so you shouldn't be giving those to your children.
Right. Well, I do approve of bad language.
Well, and it's I approve of Eminem as well. So it's.
I'm not a massive Eminem fan. Didn't he do a song called Rock Bottom?
He did. Well, he's in recovery. Yeah. Oh, he's in long-term recovery. He's been in there. I think it's.
Does he come to group?
He doesn't, but he would do if I asked him.
He'd be welcome, wouldn't he?
He'd be more than welcome.
He might come to Canterbury with you next week and then go and have a look at the fudge shop if it's still there. Yeah.
But that's about it for this week, mate.
Good, because that's long enough, isn't it now?
Yeah, you can.
All right, I'm going to go and listen to. I'm going to go and think about guitar solos now.
Okay. All right, mate.
See you later.
Take it easy.
Laters.
Bye.
Bye. Sideways was created by Graham Landy and Martin Pankhurst. If you want to read more about our work or sort through the extensive archive of past episodes, just visit grahamlandywellbeing.co.uk/sideways-podcast. You can follow us on Twitter or Facebook or Instagram at Sideways Podcast, And you can email us if you have a question or if there's something you'd like us to cover. But most of all, we want to tell you how grateful we are that you come and listen. And we ask that if you've enjoyed what you've heard, that you spread the word. And we'll see you next week.